he stood upon the very front doorway where they had taken his daddy's body away just 2 years before, and gazed at the street where his mother told him to travel now with his sister, carrying a few pieces of clothing they could carry to Aunt Mally's before the waters of the Ohio rose to swallow their life. In the morning, he descended the steps to see the river water seep under the door to claim more ground, and then they were carried one by one to the rescue skiff to be taken once again to higher ground. If a young life is defined by a photo record or a father's presence or a favorite toy, he would have none of those to keep marked now. But they forged gamely on in Maysville with St. Patrick's Church and Southern hospitality and fresh tobacco hands falling from the horse-drawn carts to the drying houses nearby. His mother, determined as always, and accounted as she had always done, using her sharp mind to keep books in the shops, for the mayor, in the home coffers, and in the tender hearts of the children who she bore much to her joy late in life. And when she worked, the mammy, as she was called, would come to town and cook and cuddle, and can you imagine? Those were the days. What was fostered in Dad was fostered from his parents, which was fostered through the generations before. And with quiet responsibility and determination and humor and trust as he altar boyed at St. Patrick's and sang duets with young Rosemary Clooney and played ball with the boys down the street. And then, when Hitler invaded the world, Mom moved them to a new life to work for Wright Patterson, and then on to South Bend where Dad could graduate Notre Dame and make a career. The world's largest picture tube plant became smooth and efficient as Dad guided the flow of tubes from empty vessels to phosphorus-filled vacuums of light. What my mom must have seen was the kindness and humor and peace in a man not put off one bit by taking her to the big town to pour her troubled heart out on the doctor's couch. The bond and the fun and the security and the family, the safety and the love were all fostered in this rich, warm broth. As he woke us every morning with a rub on the back and a gentle voice and a touch of his presence, we learned by watching him. Never too passionate, never too emotional, never a man to express his anger, distaste, or criticisms in anything but a gentle way. We learned from him. He taught us to roll with the punches, not to take anything too personally, never to burn bridges, never to act hatefully, that all people have value. He taught us stoicism before we knew what perspective and humility meant. He taught us presence. He didn't need to prove anything. He didn't need to win or brag or envy. What we had, we appreciated. He started his days in prayer. He never drank or ate to excess. He honored my mother, which was no small thing. Not that she didn't grow frustrated with his measured ways at times, but he gave us fertile soil to try and explore, but not run away. He taught by example, always kind, always gentle, always listening to the facts, always willing to be wrong. He taught humility. We watched him roll and sway, but never give away his values. We watched him roll and sway with our mom's emotions, but never remove himself. He taught us that gentleness is stronger than a harsh word. We had a home that allowed expression. We had an environment that encouraged our talents. We had an audience who was always our champion. Dad wasn't showy. He showed. He wasn't passionate. He was in for the long run. He wasn't capricious, but he was thoughtful. We all say, if we, who are older now, would grow up even a bit like Dad, we would be in great stead. And here he was, weakened with age, but smiling still, and asking anyone who talked with him if they were doing okay. But as these things often do, pneumonia slowly rose like the waters of the Ohio, and this time he was too weak to escape the tide. But instead, having looked back at the stream behind him, prepared to join the great waters, as all healthy river flows do, to become part of the great ocean of unseen life that is a mystery and a oneness. And as we spoke the words of thanks to him, and a staff had sang, and his neighbors looked. In the end, he gave up the earth and floated not down, but up into the light and the arms of welcome and the absolute joy and freedom of all who have watched him quietly through the years never sway from a life of service and love. And we looked at the television at the foot of the bed, and there was Rosemary, beaming and singing sweetly once again, "I surrender, dear." And then we also, as Dad had done for his father, rested our hands upon his face and signed the cross and kissed his forehead for our sister who was on her way, and thanked him for a life well done. And we knew we must take our challenges and in some mysterious, miraculous way, as Dad by example had taught us, remember that each of us is a stream, a flow, a lifeline to each other, an organic part of a greater whole, which works best and most beautifully when we treat each other as living streams of life with kindness, consideration, attention, and respect, as our Dad did for all of us. It's not rest in peace. It's come to the fullness of the light that was planted in you by the Creator, to radiate to those around you now, to share with us, and for us to share with the world. Thanks, Dad.